Avengers Endgame is going to be huge and a lot of theories are already out. Today, we'll be diving into the quantum realm of possibilities for Avengers Endgame as we explore the 10 most compelling and conversation-worthy fan theories about the saga. So let's begin. Number 10, Quantum Realm Loop Theory. One of the most intriguing Endgame theories is the Quantum Realm Loop Theory. This theory suggests the Avengers use the quantum realm for not straightforward time travel, but to create a time loop that they can manipulate. The idea is they travel back into a looped timeline, reliving certain events over and over. Each time the loop resets, they could make different choices, like an Infinity Stone version of Groundhog Day. The key evidence is the Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit scene where Scott Lang is trapped in a time vortex. This shows the quantum realm can warp time. What if the Avengers replicate this on purpose? By re-looping events like the Infinity War battle, they could continually retry new strategies until the loop where they defeat Thanos occurs. Of course, the risk is they could get stuck repeating forever, and it's questionable if Tony Stark could figure out how to engineer a controllable time loop. But the fact that time works differently in the quantum realm opens up this possibility. It's an exciting theory that would let our heroes retry failed efforts while preserving the emotional weight and consequences of the Infinity War losses. We saw the Avengers at their lowest. Can the quantum realm give them a chance to rise again in a fresh time loop? Number 9. Past versions, present solutions. The time travel element of Endgame opens up the amazing possibility of the Avengers interacting with past versions of themselves. Just imagine our heroes coming face to face with the 2012 Avengers from the Battle of New York. The basis for this theory comes from leaked Endgame promo art showing our current heroes in their new white suits alongside the 2012 Avengers in their classic costumes. The implications could be huge. What if the Avengers travel back to convince their past selves about Thanos' future threat? Their past versions have no knowledge of the Infinity War losses. But armed with this foresight, they could play pivotal roles in stopping Thanos that our current heroes alone couldn't. It creates an intriguing paradox. Our veterans and their past selves teaming up, despite not existing concurrently. And seeing the two generations of Avengers together on screen would be an absolute blast. Of course, the risk is contaminating the timeline, but Doctor Strange knew this was the one scenario where they win. Bringing past selves into the fight could be why. Just imagine Tony Stark talking strategy with his 2012 self. That knowledge could be what defeats the Mad Titan for good. Number 8, the Soul Stone sacrifice switch. One of the most heart-wrenching moments in Infinity War was watching Black Widow sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. But what if that scene wasn't what it seemed? An intriguing theory proposes Hawkeye was the one who actually died in Natasha's place. The basis lies in Clint's history as an expert agent and master of deception. What if when hanging off the cliff on Vormir, Clint swapped places with Natasha at the last second? His sleight of hand could have convinced even the omniscient Red Skull. This presents some fascinating possibilities. It would mean Natasha obtained the Soul Stone through an act of trickery, not true sacrifice. That could have consequences she'll have to reckon with. And Clint, sacrificing himself to save his best friend, adds a layer of tragedy and heroism to his character. Of course, the scene seemed unambiguous, and it's impactful to see Natasha choose death for the greater good. But misdirection is a classic Marvel movie, and if the callous Hawkeye we saw after the snap is actually a grieving Natasha, it reframes her arc. Ultimately, this theory would create huge emotional ramifications. The death was dramatic enough already. Can you imagine if it wasn't who we thought? It would be a gut-punch twist that reminds us the fight against Thanos comes at a moral cost for the Avengers. Number 7, Mjolnir makes a comeback. Mjolnir, Thor's trusty Uru hammer, was dramatically crushed by Hela in Ragnarok. But some fans theorize Thor's weapon makes a triumphant return in Endgame. The basis for this theory comes from set photos showing Chris Hemsworth holding a hammer-like weapon covered in a cloth. It lines up with leaks saying Thor doesn't feel worthy after his failure to stop Thanos. But what if someone else proves able to lift Mjolnir, either through their own worthiness or some time travel resurrection? both Jane Foster and Captain America have wielded Thor's hammer in the comics before. Imagine Cap summoning Mjolnir to turn the tide, or Jane becoming the MCU's Lady Thor. It would be a crowning heroic moment. After losing his family and home, seeing Mjolnir reclaimed as a symbol of hope might inspire Thor to keep fighting. And wielding such an iconic weapon would cement either Cap or Jane as weirdos. Of course, some say Mjolnir should stay destroyed to show Thor moving past reliance on hammers for power. But with the stakes so high, the return of Mjolnir could provide the edge needed to defeat Thanos, where Stormbreaker failed. Worthiness could truly save the day. Number 6. Loki's master deception. Again. Loki has faked his death before, so could the god of mischief be up to his old tricks in Endgame? This popular theory suggests Loki actually survived Thanos' attack and has been working behind the scenes with the Avengers, unbeknownst to them. The basis for this theory stems from the fact we never saw Loki's body after Thanos killed him. And who better to sneak around unnoticed, gathering intel on Thanos, than the illusion-casting Loki? Picture this. At a key moment, Loki drops his disguise and reveals he procured an Infinity Stone or learned Thanos' weakness. His insider knowledge could give the Avengers the edge they need. Of course, Loki seemed earnest in his attempt to kill Thanos, and narratively, his death marked real growth for the character. But maybe Loki saw faking his death as the only way to take down the Mad Titan once and for all. The reveal would be a crowd-pleasing moment and continue the fun dynamic between Loki and Thor, but it would undercut the sincerity of Loki's redemption. And could the Avengers really trust this infamous trickster? Either way, when dealing with the god of mischief, fans should expect the unexpected. With Loki involved, anything is possible. Number 5. The power of teamwork, not stones. Infinity War showed just how dangerous the Infinity Stones can be. So what if in Endgame, the key to victory is removing reliance on magical rocks altogether? This heartwarming theory suggests the Avengers defeat Thanos not through stones, but through the power of teamwork. Rather than pin their hopes on, say, collecting the stones first, the Avengers could focus on doing what they do best, working together. Imagine our heroes coming up with creative strategies that perfectly combine their individual abilities. Ant-Man could sneak onto Thanos while shielded by Wanda's magic as a distraction. They'd show how cooperation truly is greater than any gauntlet. It would be incredibly uplifting to see the Avengers solve a cosmic-sized problem using their own humanity. The bonds between the teammates could strengthen them against any threat, and it would prove to Thanos once and for all that some things are more powerful than even the Infinity Stones. Of course, defeating someone as strong as Thanos will require immense power. But after relying on magic rocks for so long, watching the Avengers trust in each other could inspire audiences everywhere about the true nature of heroism. It's not about the size of the blast, but the size of the heart. Number 4. Ant-Man's nanosuit surprise. A popular Ant-Man theory suggests Scott Lang could be the secret weapon against Thanos by utilizing his shrinking abilities in an unexpected nanotech way. We know Scott has experience manipulating tech at microscopic sizes thanks to his work with Hank Pym. What if he puts those skills to use infiltrating Thanos' gauntlet? Picture this. Scott shrinks down small enough to slip between the gauntlet's nanites. Once inside, he embiggens, disrupting the gauntlet's circuitry and shutting it down from within. Or even better, what if he reprograms it to obey the Avengers instead of Thanos? It would be a genius way to turn Thanos' own weapon against him. Scott could be a microscopic fly in the ointment that throws off the Mad Titan's plans when he least expects it. Talk about thinking small to solve a big problem. Of course, we don't know if the gauntlet contains any internal tech to tamper with, and at full size, Thanos could easily swat Scott like a bug. But if Scott can leverage his shrink ability in creative new ways, he might prove bigger than Thanos can possibly imagine. Number 3. The Ancient One's Endgame. Doctor Strange said he viewed over 14 million possible futures with only one where the Avengers defeat Thanos. But what if their victory was centuries in the making due to the Ancient One? This theory suggests the Ancient One used the Time Stone to look far into the future, witnessing Thanos' eventual threat. She then manipulates events across generations to guide the MCU towards the one outcome where Thanos loses. Small details like selecting Stephen Strange as her successor or letting Caecilius temporarily defeat her could have been strategic sacrifices. But Perhaps she even influenced Tony Stark's path, knowing he'd be essential. She subtly stacks the deck across lifetimes. It presents a fascinating idea. While the heroes viewed Thanos as sudden, his defeat was a forever war for the Ancient One. Her long game against fate itself is finally won when the Avengers triumph. Of course, it may make the MCU feel overly predestined, but it adds layers of meaning to the Ancient One's choices. And after so much loss, the idea it was all part of a plan to save the universe could reassure fans it was worth it. No matter what, the Ancient One would ensure the endgame led to victory. Number 2, beyond Thanos, a greater threat emerges. Thanos has been built up as the ultimate MCU villain, but what if Endgame reveals it was just the tip of the evil iceberg? An intriguing theory posits defeating Thanos brings a greater threat to the forefront, one nobody sees coming. This theory suggests Thanos inadvertently served as a bulwark against something worse lurking in the shadows. With him gone, that new villain emerges, forcing the Avengers to band together against an unexpected foe even more powerful than the Mad Titan. It would be a shocking twist sure to have ramifications across the MCU, and raising the stakes so high after Infinity War would keep audiences on their toes. Just when the Avengers thought their fight was won, an even deadlier evil arrives to haunt them. Of course, Thanos has been built up for so long already, creating a new out-of-nowhere big bad could feel rushed. But the Avengers triumphing only to learn a secret mastermind was behind it all along could lead to an epic saga beyond the Infinity Saga. Whoever this new threat may be, taking down Thanos likely won't be the end. The Avengers' greatest battle is still yet to come. Number 1, the power of choice. Rather than speculate about time travel or quantum physics, this theory takes a metatextual approach to Endgame's ending. It proposes that the true climax will highlight the power of choice above all else. More than just defeating Thanos, Endgame could present each Avenger with difficult moral dilemmas. They may have to sacrifice long-held beliefs for the greater good or choose between equally challenging options. There are no easy answers. This would emphasize heroism not as punching villains, but as making hard calls that shape destiny. The fate of the universe hangs not on superpowers, but on principles, and the audience is left to wrestle with those same dilemmas. Of course, superhero films often end in spectacular action, but Endgame wrapping up as a thought-provoking character study could provide unexpected profundity. The focus shifts from CGI battles to internal struggles. Ultimately, Endgame transcends good versus evil to explore the nuances defining heroism. Its ending reminds us true courage comes not from defeating others, but making the right choice when either path holds terrible costs. That is the greatest superpower.